All right, so it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the day. Thu earned her PhD degree at the University of Tasmania, Australia, and a master's degree at the University of Stirling in the UK. She is currently in her second year as a postdoctoral researcher at the Aquatic Animal Health Lab at UC Davis, and has been involved in many different projects investigating the pathogenesis of different emerging bacterial diseases in cultured fish, specifically streptococcosis in white sturgeon, Edwardselliosis, and mycobacteriosis in salmonids, and flavobacteriosis in rainbow trout. So Thu, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I would like to share our study on the virulence of Lactobacterium styrofilum, sequence type 78, 85, and G19 to different culture rainbow trout found in California, United States. First, I would like to briefly introduce about the rainbow trout. It's native to many quarters of California. Occasionally occurs in the large part of the trout stream of the state and in a few places. This species is the most common raised salmonid in California hatchery, and most of them widely distributed in nearly every lake or stream in California. In California Department of Fish and Wildlife Hatchery, they have around 20 hatchery along the, you see the map along the California, and one fishery bay. As we know, California have 58 counties and a lot of lakes and fish area is suitable for ramfish. And in 1960, around 1 million licensed angler fish were sold, and now in 2020, it nearly double licensed angler fish were sold, and more than half of this they fish for trout. California Department of Fish and Wildlife Hatchery from 2018 to 2020, they reviewed average around 37 million fish, including trout and salmon, and it's weighing around 2.8 million block per year. California hatchery system, they maintain around 11 broodstock trains, including golden trout, eaglet, Kamloops Junction, Big River, West Virginia, Coleman, Colorado, Northwest Sata, West Palm, Edison Ridge, rainbow trout. And salmonids have a wide range of bacterial disease. And you can see here it's including Aeromonas, Yersinia, Renning Bacterium, Lactobacillus, or Mycobacteriosis. With the bacterial disease, have Flavobacterium branchiophyllum. It have coronary disease and other Lactobacterium. And Lactobacterium styrofilum is called the bacterial cold water disease and rainbow trout syndrome. Bacterial cold water disease, also known as rainbow trout fry syndrome, fry mortality syndrome, Mendonco disease, or low temperature disease. It globally distributed freshwater fish disease, and is caused by Lactobacterium styrofilum. It's devastating infection in fry and juvenile salmonids, and mortality has been reported as high as 90%. And this disease appears in the water temperature between 10 to 14 degrees Celsius. Clinical sign and rod finding is variable depending on the fish species or the development stage. The large fish typically consists of skin erosion and small sore degeneration, followed by progressive tissue necrosis. In fry, septicemia can develop without any ethnocyte. There is risk, exothymia, spinal deformity, dark pigmentation of the skin, and you can see here the fit with the with the site of the infection of Lactobacterium staphylococcus with the with the skin nearly off. And here is the dark pigmentation of the skin or spinal deformity with the infection of staphylococcus. Yeah, the multilocus C1 typing is widely used for the molecular characteristics of bacteria, even its practical and advanced the technical advantage. And when staphylococcus have MLST stream developed, leading to discovery numerous sequence type and clonal complexes associated with disease outbreaks in Chile, Europe, Japan, and the United States. And now we know Lactobacterium staphylococcus have more than 30 clonal complexes globally with more than 320 sequence types. This is a diagram of the global MLST typing of Lactobacterium staphylococcus, including 1,460 isolates worldwide. And in this diagram, you can see most of the sequence, most of the isolate belong to the group 10, the clonal complex 10 here. And in this clonal complex, have the big red is the sequence type 2, sequence type 10, and you can see here in this have sequence type 85, 319, and 78 here. In California, we have at least 11 distinct multilocus sequence typing, and majority of the genotype isolate belong into the single clonal complex CC10. CC10 is the largest clonal complex worldwide associated with disease outbreak on several continents. And a previous study about epidemiological analysis of Lactobacterium staphylococcus in California, there has been reports that Coleman Rambo-Chow and Steelhead Rambo-Chow appear highly associated with the bacteria cold water disease, especially of the genotype CC10ST85. Here is a diagram of the California MLST typing of staphylococcus. It has 13 different sequence types, and 7 of them housed within the single clonal complex 10 and sequence type 78, 85, and 319 is that common in California. So the aim of this study, the pilot study, we evaluate the susceptibility of 4 different rainbow trout chains cultured in California with 2 isolated types of Lactobacterium staphylococcus, sequence type 78, 85, and 319. The 3 most common sequence types collected in Salmonis hatchery, and the 4 trout were chosen, including 2 strains of the steelhead, with the Central Valley chain and the Eel River chain. And we also have the Hoffer rainbow trout and the Starter chain for this study. With the Central Valley steelhead is a threatened species under the endangered species act. So the National Marine Fisheries Service, they want to, they have a program to recover this species. With the Eel River chain steelhead, is raised in Nimbus hatchery and genetically distinct from the central valley chain. With the Sata chain, they are hybrids of the horsefish chain and a chain of domestic rainbow trout at the Rivers Farm in Idaho. They grow well in hatchery and reach in catchable size in 9 to 12 months, perform well in brood and test fishery. The Hoffer rainbow trout is a hybrid imported for its research system to the Wheeling disease and good growth characteristics. So with the treatment, we have 640 trout fingerling with the weight of 3.7 grams per feet, and each strand here we have 120 fish with 6 tanks to isolate with 3 sequence types of Lavocytophyllum. And we also have control fish for chain of the control, 2 tanks each, and in a total of 40 fish for each chain of the control. The fish were in 18-liter tank with the temperature around 13 degrees Celsius. The 6 isolate of Lactobacterium we chosen for this study include to isolate each for each sequence type. It were collected in the different species of rainbow trout in different 5 hatchery in California. You can see in the map along here with the red star is the location of the hatchery that we collect this isolate from 2017 to 2019. And we follow the challenge method of Sundale et al. 2019. The in vivo challenge, we use the intramuscular challenge method. The fish were assimilated around 2 weeks before the challenge. At the day of challenge, the bacteria were grown in the TYES media and incubator around 3 to 4 days at 20 degrees Celsius. And at the day of challenge, the bacteria colony was resuspended in the PBS, and we measured only around 0.45. And the challenge dose, we injection for the fish around 10^7 cm per feet, and we inject 0.05 milliliter for each fish. We use intramuscular injection. This is the area size for the injection. We have 8 tanks for each sequence type, and also we have 8 tanks for the control. During 20 days of the challenge, if we see any moribund or dead fish, we collect around 3 to 5 moribund or dead fish, and we record re-isolation of the cytophyllum. The mortality will be recorded daily. At the day of the end of the challenge, day 21, we sampling maximum size survival fish per isolate for letting bacteria kidney to see any Lactobacterium serophyllum still have in the fish. With the statistical analysis, we use sigma log and survival analysis, and we use CDA method for multiple comparison, and the result was considered significant when p-value less than 0.05. With the result, we see here the survival analysis for the sequence type 78. You can see the fish had mortality around 2 days post challenge, and it lasts long until around day 18, and the mortality reached 100% for all 4 trains here. And the cyrofilm was recovered from the bacterial kidney of all sample, moribund and dead fish. With the sequence type 85, we see the first mortality around 3-day post-challenge, and it lasts until and moribund and dead fish day by day until around day 21, and the mortality reached 98.1% during 20 days of the challenge. And 4 trend look the same with the survival analysis. With the sequence type 319, and see here the fish, the first mortality around 3-day post-challenge, and is that mortality during around 20 days of the challenge, and it reached 98.8%. And the mortality of the survival of the 4 train is significantly different with the control, and we see the cyrofilm in the bacterial kidney of the moribund and dead fish. Yes, with the analysis in different trend here, the first you see in the central valley trend still has, it looks a little bit like it start the mortality a little bit different. In the ST78, you see in the around 2-day post-challenge, but in group 85, around 6-day post-challenge have the first mortality, and in 319, around nearly 8-day post-challenge, they all reach the high mortality with 99.6% during 21 days of the challenge. With the irreversible change, it looked 3C1 type, it looked the same manner of the mortality, and it reached 99.2% during 21 days of the challenge. The Hawk rainbow child and Sata rainbow child, the mortality curve is look nearly the same, and they reach 99.6% during 21 days of the challenge. With the Ross side, we see after around 4-day post-challenge, we see the lesion like around the area of the injection, and inside the fish, we see the liver and intestine hemorrhage. 5-day post-challenge, the same and more. We have some muscle lesion and also erosion of the tail, and inside the same, the liver and intestine hemorrhage. The 6-day, 7-day post-challenge. 8-day post-challenge, it looks like more severe with during the challenge day. It's 9-day post-challenge, 30-day post-challenge, and 18-day post-challenge. Yeah, the abscess, like skin or muscle lesion, and inside the liver and intestine hemorrhage. The period status, we see that in 3 survival of the survival fish of the ST85, we have 1 fish have the cyrofilm in the bacterial kidney, and in group sequence type 319, on 2 survival have the Lactobacterium cyrofilm in the kidney. No control fish have the bacteria there. We have some conclusion that acute to subacute mortality were present in all 4 train rainbow challenge with Lactobacterium cyrofilm by intramuscular injection, and first mortality observed around 2 to 3 days post-challenge, and mortality reached 95 to 100% after 21 days post-trial. That study suggests similar susceptibility of Levobacterium staphylococcus E3 types 78, 85, and 319 in our own child chain evaluated. For the study, we will investigate the virulence with larger number of replicates, different dose, and maybe different environmental conditions to better understand diversity of the pathogen in California. I would like to acknowledge my supervisor and collaborator at Michigan State University and California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and also our team animal health lab at the UC Navy. And thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you very much for that interesting talk. If you've got questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask Thu directly. We've got one question here to kick things off. They're curious, why did you use intramuscular challenge rather than a bath challenge? Isn't it difficult to develop survival curves if you have 100% mortality in the infected controls?
Yeah, as we know, it's our pilot study with lots of different species here. We have 4 different strains, and yeah, and a lot of chain for this study. So we think it's more safe for the we know that injection is more have more chance for successful of the challenge than the immersion. And with DTC, we have some symptoms along some roadside that with the muscle lesion. So that's why we choose the reason. I think the reason we choose for the intramuscular injection. That's yeah, it's like pilot study with a lot of fish and lots of disease. So it's like the first assess for us, and maybe we can do more with the in-person. Yes, because it's really high mortality here. Maybe the dose or maybe the methods with the small fish like this.
Okay, thank you.
I can ask a question here.
Yeah, go for it, Jan.
All right, thanks. Thanks for the talk, Thu. I'm just curious, with cold water disease, one of the other issues, if you don't experience heavy mortality in a hatchery, you can develop neurologic signs and spinal deformities in the fish, and we've certainly have it happen here. So if you're doing enhancement stocking, if you have a severe epizootic, then your survivor fish, you have a high percentage of spinal deformities with scoliosis and lordosis, which is more of like a neurologic progression of the disease. It looks like with your experiments, they killed the fish pretty quickly, but I wonder if in the future you can do a lower dose challenge and see if you can see any differences in the neurologic manifestation of the disease, and if there's differences in like the clonal complexes or maybe strain differences in the fish where you see more spinal deformities or less deformities.
Yeah, thank you for your suggestion. Yeah, yep.
Yep.
So that's we will repeat the study with lower dose, and we see more layer the difference between each strain. Yeah, thank you.
Have you tried to culture the brain in any of the fish after 21 days of challenge? I know you did mostly kidney cultures, right?
No, it is mostly kidney culture because a lot of fish die nearly the same day. So yeah, we think it the kidney, yeah, is the best for re-isolation, and we just try the kidney. Yeah, no, not try the brain yet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what actually did you find out to be the cause of the virulence of the Flavobacterium psychrophyllum that caused mortality in up to 100% so far in your work? We're able to identify specific proteins that were attributed to these huge mortalities.
Sorry, can you repeat the last part of your question? I can't hear it clearly.
Yeah, when you did the MLST sequencing, were you able to identify any proteins or sequences that were responsible for this particular virulence in your bacteria?
Oh, okay. So this like we have the lot of like the previous we did from other member, not me. So they already sequence type on the isolate here, and we see that 3 sequence type 78, 85, and 319 is the most common in California. So that's why we choose this sequence type for this study, and with different train of child to see any difference with the mortality or with the virulence of this isolate for the fish in California or not. So that's the reason why we choose this sequence type or the isolate. Is this answer your question or not?
No, not exactly. For instance, what I'm looking for is probably the expression of toxin proteins. That is what is maybe causing the virulence, or probably a specific outer membrane protein. That's what I'm actually asking for. I understand what you just said, but are there any specific toxins produced maybe by your bacterium that is causing these high mortalities during your challenge to attribute it to virulence?
Yeah, I think it's also like it's the one part of the reason is we use the high virulent one, we use the high challenge dose. Yeah, so it's like the first pilot study for this study, and we plan to repeat the experiment with the lower dose to see really the difference or not between the 4 train of the trial here. Yeah, we know. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right, that's all the time we have for you. Thank you very much. Virtual round of applause for you.